Hi guys, what is dark witchcraft? It seems that this question is being asked over and over and over again, considering the amounts of dark witchcraft / paganism videos that are being made at the moment. And to be completely honest, I'm a bit of a dill. I really should have made this video directly after I had made Must I Be a Fluffy Witch? It seems a little bit silly that I made the two videos that I've made after making that without actually explaining what exactly I believe dark witchcraft to be. But the reason I've been prompted to do this video is that, being that I have made two dark witchcraft videos of my own, and I've also watched quite a few over the last few days and searched YouTube for what the general consensus of what darker paths to be is, I found myself very frustrated with the answers. Now, I've watched a few videos over the last few days, and I'm not really... And this is just my own personal opinion, okay? So I'm just going to put that, actually, just rewind it for a minute, put this as a disclaimer at the start of this video that this is my personal opinion of what I believe dark witchcraft / paganism to be. I'm not incorporating into this video the opinions of the Gothic subculture, the vampiric subculture, because a lot of the books that are being mentioned by people making videos at the moment are coming from authors that are directly linked with, obviously, the vampiric subculture, a Gothic subculture, be it Constantinos, Raven Digitalis, Michelle Belanger. All of these books are written by people who would consider themselves, as a definition, a Gothic witch or a Gothic Wiccan, whatever they define themselves as opposed to just defining themselves as perhaps witch. So I found this in itself to be where I think a lot of this misguided information is coming from. What I believe dark witchcraft to be, and of course I'm not Gothic and I don't follow the vampiric subculture, and it's not something that I'm particularly interested in. I work with my own dark energies, but I will never be interested in somebody who feels comfortable working with an even darker form of energy, and those who consider themselves to be psychic vampires and that sort of thing. I think that's, again, that sort of falls back to the Gothic vampiric subculture, and it's not something that I'm very comfortable with. I think that sort of tips the scales a little past witchcraft, even though a lot of people do define themselves as a witch, but they've still got that foot in that extra subculture that they're interested in. Hope that this is all making sense. It's been playing on my mind for the last 2 days, and I've just got to get it out because I'm so frustrated after watching all of these videos. And to me, I consider myself and I define myself as a witch, nothing more, nothing less. So when I think about dark witchcraft, I specifically think about working with my own dark energies, knowing my own inner darkness, both subconsciously and consciously, working with those energies to understand who I am as a witch, as a person, as a seer. And once I understand those elements of myself, understanding my own boundaries, then would I go on, if chosen on my path, to work within the darker realms of spirit work, necromancy and death. I do not believe for 1 second that to work with darker energies or forces within my path as a witch is to directly correlate the dark paths with necromancy, spirit work and death. I think that's really misguiding a lot of people, because I believe it's teaching especially a lot of young witches to believe that in order to walk a dark path, that you have to be involved with death, and that death is something that is dark, and you can't work with death in a light way, which I think again is very, very wrong. If we look to mediums, if we look to psychics, they work with death in the spirit world every day, but it's not done in a negative way, it's not done in a dark way, it's done in a beautiful, light, positive way, and it has brought to light so many things that we could only wish that we knew earlier about the spirit realms. I think that far too many people, and I don't mean any insult to anybody, so please, anybody out there that's watching this video, please don't take it that way. I think too many people are reading directly from books. They've picked up a book, They flipped through it, they read bits and pieces, and they're basing their videos directly what they've read in a book. And many of the authors in these books, being Constantino's Raven Digitalis, Michelle Belanger, they're from a gothic and vampiric subculture. They don't define themselves specifically as witches, so their path is very, very different to that of a witch. And they work directly within the dark realms. They work directly with death, with the spirit world, with necromancy, and they work within their own path very, very differently to that of a witch or somebody who doesn't define themselves within the external subcultures. So I think that for people that are looking to know exactly what dark witchcraft is, just as it is dark witchcraft or dark paganism, depending on how you define yourself, and I'm just going to throw in there, I've had a few people write in the comments that why do you call it dark witchcraft? I don't think it needs to be called dark. To call dark witchcraft or dark paganism dark, it's simply is that, it's a term. Everybody defines and uses the term differently. What I consider to be dark, you may not consider to be dark, but it is just a term, and it's just a way of explaining what I'm trying to get across. I don't mean dark as in evil or necessarily negative. I think it's just an exploration of the self for your own spiritual awareness, but it's just a much easier, more defined way of explaining it than saying maybe perhaps the word grey. I'm making these videos specifically for a wide audience so everybody can understand what I'm saying, even though I know that people get confused anyway, but I'm doing my best. You guys know that. So what I'm really trying to say is, for me, within my own path as a witch, I do work with the spirit realms, but I don't connect that directly to being dark. My own dark path and dark workings is directly linked to myself, and for working within my own darkness. When I'm having a dark day, I need to be able to harness those energies. I have to be able to control those energies, to manifest that energy just the way it is, and to be able to release that to the world, and to be able to control those energies within myself before I go working with other forces that I can't control. And I probably should have made this video earlier, because I think it's very, very important for especially people that are learning within this path when it comes to dark witchcraft and paganism. I'm getting confused and choked up, but I need to get it out, so it's all coming out in a big mishmash. So, but you guys all know me enough to understand. I think it's very, very important to define what dark witchcraft is and what it isn't. And I personally don't directly correlate dark witchcraft on any level to be that of death and the spirit world. What we do as witches is our own choice. Now, in one of the videos I watched, I can't remember, there was a few, doesn't matter anyway, but there was comments, I think it actually may have been Witch on the Rocks, she was going through the sort of people, and I know because I had read the comments on her video, there was people that were all up in arms about words that she should or should not have used, so she actually remade the video. And I think people read too much into what we say sometimes and sort of put their own spin on it and then distort it a little bit and make it something else, when we're trying to be as clear as we possibly can. But she had remade the video and said that if you're somebody who has psychological problems, be it depression, or if you're a cutter, perhaps a dark path is not for you. Now, I'm not to say, of course, that Sammy's wrong, because I love her to death, but I don't necessarily agree with that, on being that I've been diagnosed with depression and I've also cut myself in the past. And I'm a very strong person, and I still know within myself that I can handle working within my own darkness. So I do think on some level it is unfair to say that if you have A, B, C or D, that a dark path isn't for you. I actually think in many respects that a darker path could actually be very, very helpful to people, as long as they don't abuse what they're working with. It can really help people to define and to bring to the surface those fears. What else am I trying to say? I guess the sort of self-loathing that we feel, the sadness, the depression, to bring that to the surface, to accept it, to manifest it and let it go. For me, working within that darkness has helped me so much, so I would never turn anybody away from it and say, just because you have this, or this, that a dark path isn't for you. I think that we all learn at our own level, and we all explore our own spirituality so differently, that to tell anybody that the path is not for them isn't necessarily true. I do believe if you have any form of clinical psychosis, and that you are easily influenced by the intrusive thoughts or particular thoughts that you have, and that you are somebody who perhaps has something like an obsessive compulsive disorder, where you become very easily immersed and obsessed in the world that you live in, I do believe that maybe the darker paths may be a little bit too much for you to understand if you were young. Because I really do believe that to work with the darker path, if you're a beginner, do not read gothic and vampiric subcultured books. To work a darker path is to know yourself. It is a self-exploration of the darkness within. Once you can control that darkness within, project that and work with that, and turn that into something that you can construct and manifest, not necessarily positively, but if you can work with those energies to just let them be and control them in a way that isn't hurting yourself or anybody else, then you can certainly move on to working with the surrounding energies, the death, the spirit world, and working within necromancy and other forms of darkness. But to say that walking a darker path directly is correlated with death and the spirit world, I think is very, very wrong. And this is just my own opinion, because most of the dark arts or the darker work that I do at the moment has got nothing to do with death. It's got nothing to do with the spirit world. It's my own self-exploration of working with those dark intrusive thoughts that I have, and my own fears and self-loathing within myself, and being able to meditate upon that and admit to myself areas of my life that are troublesome to me, and be able to manifest those energies and just let them be what they are. I guess I'm not really getting this, I haven't thought about this. I've thought about this video, but I didn't even think about what context I was going to put it into. I don't ever take notes for my videos, or very rarely. But I'm still exploring myself. I know how to work with the spirit realms. I have studied probably to a higher degree, sometimes more than Wicca and witchcraft, occult studies. I've been more fascinated with the occult in some respects than I have with witchcraft or Wicca on a whole throughout my life. I've always been naturally drawn to the darker side of a path as opposed to the lighter side of it. And that is because I think as growing up as a teenager, I was very depressed, and I never had an outlet to let those energies manifest. I never had that outlet. So that outlet for me was to be angry, was to be horrible to other people, was to cut myself, was to attempt suicide. They ended up being my outlets. If I knew that I could learn from somebody, if I knew that I had a mentor or an inspiration to say, hey, it's okay to feel this way, there are ways around this, there are ways that you can embrace how you're feeling to make yourself feel more aware of what's going on around you and be in tune with that. If I had have known that as a teenager, it probably would have saved me so much hurt and pain. And to me, that's what working with the darkness is about, is working within yourself, expressing it in your own path before we go moving on to the more fun side of things. And I think for anybody who's looking to get into to darker witchcraft, if you can't first look within yourself spiritually and work within your own darknesses, and obviously manifest your own darkness and work with those energies that are within yourself, you're certainly not ready to move on to learning and lessons about necromancy, the spirit world, and death, because it's going to be too much for you. You have to be ready to work within your own personal levels of darkness. But that being said, I will continue to do the videos on dark witchcraft, but instead of doing lessons on those videos, what I'm going to do is explore what dark witchcraft is on a higher level. I'm going to talk about what dark paganism means, or / dark witchcraft. I'm trying to use words here that are a little bit more generalized, I guess. So for anybody who's watching this video and saying, oh, paganism, but it's not necessarily witchcraft, I'm trying to look for a general perspective that everybody can understand, just so everybody knows. I want to talk about what dark witchcraft, where dark witchcraft / paganism lies within witchcraft itself. I want to talk about lots of different elements of dark witchcraft. I want people to understand what it is and what it isn't before we go moving on to just lessons about meditation with spirits, meditation with the darkness, meditation with death, and doing these lessons that a lot of people may not necessarily understand. I think that that is the most important thing, to teach and to have people understand what it actually means to walk a dark path before we just jump right into all the fun stuff. So I do hope that I've explained that well enough. I did have, I actually did make somewhat of a very small list last night because there were certain topics within dark witchcraft that I wanted to address before it was starting to rain, before I got into all this fun stuff, and that list I left at home. But basically what that list is to talk about the place that darkness has within witchcraft, the place that the lighter arts have within witchcraft, that talk about the balance, talk about the polarity, talk about working with deity in dark witchcraft and the archetypes, and how it all comes together to be what it is, instead of just talking about death and spirits. And because I'm just really frustrated that everybody keeps correlating to walk a dark path with spirits and necromancy and death, because I don't think it really has anything to do with that. I think that everybody's just spending far too much time picking up books and going, I've read this and I've read that, and that's what dark witchcraft is, instead of really actually understanding it themselves. So I don't want to read from a book. I want to more or less use these videos to help explore my own darkness better, and as I'm evolving and as I'm explaining it myself, perhaps others will take that journey with me, and we can explore together, and we can discuss the videos as I make them in the comments section. That being said, I will be doing approval to each and every comment, because I find that a lot of people are leaving comments that have got absolutely nothing to do with the conversation, and you know, I'm no expert in witchcraft. I'm only 28 years old and I have a lot to learn, but this is my exploration of my own path in life, and I'm putting it out there for the world to see. So you either love it or you hate it. That's your choice, but I can't change that. So far, you know, you guys have all supported me really, really well, and so many people, it's starting to fall with rain. Everybody's supporting me so well, and I really think that people who are very serious about walking a darker path and being interested in it will understand what I'm doing with this video and where I'm going with my future videos on dark witchcraft. And before I get rained out, that's the cue to shush and end the video. So I hope you all understand what I'm doing and where I'm going with this, and that where I'm going with these dark witchcraft videos, I'm looking to help you explore yourself. I'm looking to explore with myself within my own dark path before I go jumping into working with all the darker arts, and you know, the darker of the darker arts, and being the dead and the spirit world. I don't think that jumping into that straight away is a very good thing to do. So if anyone who's really serious about it, I hope you can continue to follow my videos on dark witchcraft. And yeah, I'm really getting rained out here, so I will talk to you all soon. Many blessings to you all, and yeah, have a happy rainy day.